Alright, let's talk about Itachi versus Pain. A lot of people simply assume that Pain would absolutely stomp Itachi, and these people are definitely not giving Itachi proper analysis. There's no scenario where this fight is easy for Pain. It really depends on a lot of the situation and the location the fight takes place on. Itachi, he has three main forms: sick, healthy, and Edo Tensei, and depending on the form and the place the battle happens, well, the results can change wildly. But before we get to the actual fight, we have to talk about how some of the abilities would interact during this fight. First, we know that Pain has ways to counter Amaterasu, either by absorbing it or using Shinra Tensei, so Itachi would have to go around these limitations if he wanted to use this jutsu. We also know that Pain cannot use his absorption on the Totsuki blade, seeing that Itachi sealed Nagato with it and Nagato could do nothing about it. He would definitely have absorbed the blade if he could. We know that the bodies of the Edo Tensei are programmed to counterattacks automatically, and he just didn't do that and died or got sealed by the Totsuki blade. One big misconception with Pain's Rinnegan is that people claim that it is invulnerable to ocular genjutsu, as they are Madara's eyes and extremely powerful naturally. And yes, Madara could probably negate most ocular genjutsu with his Rinnegan. However, Nagato never used any of Madara's abilities. He was only ever capable of using the basic Rinnegan jutsus, and I don't think the Rinnegan would provide you immunity with ocular genjutsu as is. As Black Zetsu once said, the eye is a ninja tool, and the proficiency as to how it is used depends on the user alone. So Nagato, that does not know how to use Madara's abilities, would not be able to simply negate Itachi's ocular genjutsu. And, well, Itachi has other types of genjutsu as well that do not rely on eyesight. We also have to speculate a little bit on how some abilities would interact with each other, because we simply don't know how they would work when they encounter each other. The first thing that would be important to know is whether Bansho Teni could just yank Itachi out of his Susanoo, kind of like how Gaara pulled Madara out when he used his sand on Madara's feet. In my view, it wouldn't be possible to do that. I don't think Bansho Teni could pull Itachi out, and that is because Bansho Teni is a force coming from outside of the Susanoo. And even though it's invisible, I think it would pull the Susanoo entirely with Itachi. Even if it's a ribcage or the entire corporeal Susanoo, I think the entire thing would be pulled. And this definitely works more in favor of Itachi, because if Pain were able to negate the Susanoo by just pulling him out of it, it would really screw Itachi up. But bear in mind that this is just an educated guess, and we don't know for sure. But I do think Bansho Teni wouldn't be able to just pull Itachi out of the Susanoo. Another thing we don't know exactly how it would work is the Tsukuyomi. I am of the opinion that it would be probably completely useless against the Path of Pain. They don't feel pain, and the genjutsu only lasts for a split second, and it is intended to cause great psychic damage and take the enemy out of the fight. But seeing that the Paths of Pain are corpses, Tsukuyomi would not work that way. Unless for some reason the vision that the Pain bodies see with the torture Itachi imposed on them would transfer to Nagato's real body, which I don't think would happen. I think Nagato could just sever the link between the Pain bodies and he wouldn't see anything. So I do think that if Itachi uses Tsukuyomi in the fight, he would actually be in a great disadvantage, because it takes a lot of chakra and stamina from Itachi, and it would just be a completely worthless jutsu. Chibaku Tensei also raises some questions. For instance, we know that Itachi knows how to counter it. We saw it. However, we don't know the threshold of power necessary to destroy Chibaku Tensei. When B, Naruto, and Itachi combined their jutsus, they managed to destroy Chibaku Tensei. But would Itachi be able to do it alone? If I were to guess, I would probably say no. The Magatama was the weakest among the 3 jutsus used in the destruction of Chibaku Tensei, but we simply cannot know for sure. Maybe he could use Amaterasu or just more Magatamas. But if we assume that Itachi does not have the destructive capabilities to destroy Chibaku Tensei, he would lose the fight the moment Pain activated Chibaku Tensei. That doesn't mean it's an instant win for Pain, because there are ways to go around that. And before we begin the actual fight analysis, please consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to reach 100 subs, and that would be very cool. It really motivates me to make more videos, and it shows me that you guys like the videos. Alright, so the first scenario we're going to take a look at is if Itachi replaced Sage Mode Naruto in the fight against Pain when he arrived in Konoha. Itachi enters this fight with full intel, and Pain is fatigued, and he enters the fight pretty nerfed. And, well, I don't know what to say, other than it's a pretty easy win for Itachi? Let me explain why. The first thing people mention when they argue in favor of Pain in this fight is that the paths would simply bomb rush Itachi and he wouldn't have enough chakra to keep up. However, the speed and durability of the paths are lower than Itachi's. We saw that base Naruto was able to exchange some hits with a Diva path and he held his own. And well, when Sage Mode entered hand-to-hand combat with any of the paths of Pain, he just absolutely destroyed them. So Itachi would probably be the same. He's not as physically strong as Naruto in Sage Mode, but he's definitely faster and he has a better reaction time because of his Mangekyo. Itachi also has a lot of defensive jutsus, such as the Susanoo and, the ribcage and all that, and he can use shadow clones and many other things just to distract the paths of Pain and avoid this bomb rush people just talk about. A good way to compare Itachi's physical abilities and speed to Pain's is that in Edo Itachi, meaning that as an Edo Tensei his physical capabilities were nerfed, this Edo Tensei Itachi was able to engage KCM1 Naruto and B in hand-to-hand combat and easily keep up with him. KCM1 Naruto being a much more powerful form than Sage Mode, much faster, much stronger, and this is not me just saying that, it is mentioned by many different characters, including Naruto himself.
I'm a whole lot stronger now than I was when I fought against Pain!
So if the paths of Pain have problems fighting Sage Mode Naruto in a taijutsu fight, which is weaker than KCM1, which Itachi is able to fight against pretty handily, the paths of Pain would have a world of trouble to take on Itachi hand to hand. So essentially, this means that the melee attacks would be very difficult to land on Itachi, the ones that suck your soul, those one-hit attacks, they probably would never work on Itachi. The second very important thing to take into account when entering this fight in particular is that Pain enters the fight with the most powerful path nerfed. The Diva path, his powers were in cooldown when he started the fight because he blew up the entire village and used too much of his Chibaku Tensei, so he had to recharge for a long while, and Itachi would definitely notice and capitalize on that weakness. The moment Pain uses that formation to protect the Naraka and the Diva paths, Itachi would know to take those two down first because they would be a priority. It's important to note that Naruto outsmarted Pain like 5 times during their battle, with the smoke bombs, the Rasen Shuriken transformation, the frog tossing, and then he just swallowing the animal path and killing him with the Rasengan. The Naruto coming down from the sky and just hitting one of the Pains from behind, and then him transforming like 1,000 shadow clones into rocks, and then just getting Pain and catching him off guard. So Pain couldn't really see many of those things coming. Now, don't get me wrong, Naruto is not dumb. He's not a book smart guy, but I would say he is very street smart, and he can fight tactically. The thing is, Nagato is not very smart, and it's not only Naruto that's able to outsmart him. Kakashi did the same thing like 3 times against Pain in his fight, and yeah, Kakashi's very smart, but still Pain didn't see any of those things coming. The Kamui, the Lightning Shadow Clone, like he was fooled by Kakashi. And the worst thing, Pain is outsmarted by Konoha Maru. Freaking Konoha Maru, he takes down a path of pain. So yeah, Nagato is kinda dumb. He relies a lot on the sheer power of the Rinnegan and the weirdness of his abilities to win the fights. The Rinnegan powers are so strange and mysterious that they are enough to beat most fighters without any intel because people are just not used to fight against anything like it. However, when you know what Pain can do, he is much easier to fight against. Naruto with full intel was able to quickly form several strategies to take down the paths, and he's not even close to being the smartest character in the show. Do you know who the smartest character in the show is? Itachi. Well, arguably. He's at least in the top 3 most intelligent characters in Naruto. He would have a field day outsmarting Pain, and if Pain, well, he starts the fight without access to his Shinra Tensei, well, that would be a death sentence for him, because Shinra Tensei and Bancho Tennin are really important for the arsenal of Pain. He uses those abilities a lot to defend himself, counterattack, and even attack. Itachi would kind of easily take care of him. One of the abilities Pain uses in the beginning of the fight against Naruto when he couldn't use Shinra Tensei were his summons, just to keep Naruto and his other summons occupied. But Itachi has the hardest counter against large summons, Amaterasu. They can easily one-shot summons, and we saw Itachi doing this very same thing with Nagato summons, so the summons would be a non-issue to Itachi. And even if the Diva Path recharges his abilities, Itachi could withstand powerful blasts of Shinra Tensei with his Susanoo. Imagine Itachi's trickery with Genjutsu Shadow Clones and his Mangekyo powers. I don't think Pain would have a chance in that fight, really. And, well, Itachi has the Totsuka Blade and the Yara Mirror, which are just insanely powerful weapons. Elaborate with me. Sage Mode Naruto came very close to beating Pain. Pain himself said that Naruto was the only enemy able to press him that way, and Itachi would absolutely body Sage Mode Naruto. It would be an ugly stomp if Itachi fought with killing intent. If Itachi was in character to fight against Pain, he would enter the fight taking it very seriously. So I see him starting it off with the Mangekyo already activated. With full intel, he would easily take care of the Naraka path, which can resurrect other paths of Pain, and then he would take care of a jutsuless Diva path and quickly take down the others. The only way I see Pain having a chance here is if he used Chibaku Tensei, and he would have to get much closer to Nagato's real body in order to do so. Itachi would simply not allow that to happen because he would know he would be up to something. I don't really think the Itachi form we pick for this fight matters. Sick Itachi would probably have a more difficult time, but I see him winning as well, so healthy Itachi and even Edo Itachi, they would easily take this fight. Now let's discuss a battle where Itachi replaces Jiraiya, fighting Pain in the Rain Village. This is a much more interesting fight in my opinion. Pain is at full power and Itachi has no intel. At least I assume Itachi wouldn't know about the details of the Rinnegan power. Pain would enter this fight with a limitation. He can't use his most destructive jutsus like Chibaku Tensei and large-scale Shinra Tensei because he wouldn't want to destroy his own village. Also, Pain cannot fight against Itachi the same way he fought against Jiraiya. If he started off with just one path of Pain and then 3, Itachi would steamroll him. I often see people debating who would win, Itachi or the Diva path alone, and this is simply a stupid question. The Diva path is the most powerful path of Pain, but it's not even close to being as strong as Itachi. The Diva path would have no chance. He is much slower and less durable than Itachi, he has a much less diverse arsenal of jutsu, and the Diva path alone has a glaring weakness in the Shinra Tensei cooldown. He had to bring an additional path when fighting Kakashi because he knew he couldn't beat Kakashi in a one-on-one, and it goes the same for Itachi, and even worse. Pain would have to start this fight with 6 paths, and I assume he would because he knows about Itachi's capabilities. As I said before, Itachi has a superior taijutsu and reaction time than any of the Pain bodies. We also know that the pain bodies are not as durable. The Diva Path, for instance, was taken out by a base Rasengan. Itachi, on the other hand, has some abilities Pain can't really counter, like the Totsuka Blade and his mastery over Genjutsu. Furthermore, Itachi's lack of intel would not be as detrimental as one would think. As I mentioned before, Itachi is extremely intelligent and would not struggle to find out Pain's secrets mid-fight. Abilities like the Human Path and the Naraka Path, which are potential one-shot techniques, would be negated by Itachi's speed, and even if Pain catches Itachi off guard for some reason, he can simply just blast his corporeal Susanoo, just negating the melee range required for those abilities to work. Also, Itachi would definitely be smart enough to get around Pain's ninjutsu absorption once he sees it for the first time. We just have to look at when Itachi actually fought Nagato. He immediately countered the summons with the Amaterasu once he broke out of the Edo Tensei. He then immediately realized that Nagato had a shared field of vision with his summons and used the Shuriken Jutsu to negate that, and figured out the weakness of Chibaku Tensei by just glancing at it. Itachi would easily figure out the paths of Pain share the field of vision, and would be able to dissect their powers and apply proper counters the same way he did in the fight with full intel before. It would just take him longer to get used to Pain's abilities. Itachi would still be able to find out what he can do, but, well, this fight would be much tougher. Itachi's Genjutsu would be very helpful. You know, Pain does not counter Genjutsu very well, as we saw in the fight against Jiraiya. And Pain cannot use Chibaku Tensei. And if we assume Itachi cannot be pulled out of his Susanoo with Bancho Taining, Pain would have nothing to destroy the Susanoo. So he would have to outlast Itachi in a war of attrition, you know, just trying to outrun his chakra. Pain would not be able to penetrate his Susanoo, especially with the outer mirror, so he would have to wait until Itachi runs completely out of chakra and is unable to defend himself any longer. With the outer mirror, it's very difficult to get around Itachi's Susanoo. You need something extremely powerful, which could be Chibaku Tensei, but as we said before, he just can't use that now. While Itachi uses his Susanoo, he also has an extremely powerful weapon, which is the Totsuka Blade, so Pain would really have to get around things here to fight Itachi, because it's not easy to counter the blade. We saw Nagato couldn't, and Itachi's fight with Edo Nagato is a good indicator, because Itachi kinda stomped Edo Nagato. Edo Nagato was absolutely bullying KCM1, Naruto, and B. Then Itachi arrives and saves their asses, and then Kabuto immediately uses Chibaku Tensei. He doesn't even think of trying other stuff against Itachi. He knew in that situation where Itachi could use his Susanoo without fearing spending too much chakra, that Chibaku Tensei was the only option to take down Itachi with Nagato's Edo body. Itachi then easily countered Chibaku Tensei with the help of Naruto and V, and then sealed Nagato, blitzing him with a Totsuka Blade. Also, people always assume that sick Itachi, or even Itachi in general, can't last 2 minutes in a fight. I suggest you to rewatch his fight against Sasuke. It lasts for a pretty long time, and Itachi spams his Mangekyo powers while holding back to make sure he doesn't kill Sasuke and Orochimaru appears. Orochimaru then shows up, uses his most powerful jutsu against Itachi, and Itachi easily stomps a legendary Sonic with his Susanoo after fighting Sasuke, which is a Kage level fighter for like 10 chapters. Obviously, he doesn't have nearly as much chakra or stamina as Nagato, but I think he has enough gas to take down all paths of Pain if he plays his cards right. Which he usually does, you know. Itachi, pretty smart. It also really depends on how well Pain is able to deal with a Totsuka Blade, because we saw Nagato doing a terrible job at that, and if Pain is careless, he could easily just lose like 3 or 4 paths to the Totsuka Blade very fast. And I also think the Susanoo can swing that thing really fast, which makes it kinda hard to dodge, and we saw that he's unable to absorb it, which makes it terribly hard for Pain to deal with it. But I think that regardless of the form we take into account for Itachi during this fight, it will be a very hard-fought one. I think Pain beats sick Itachi 6 out of 10 times, but I think Itachi healthy beats Pain 7 out of 10 times. In the scenarios where Pain wins, I see him losing a minimum of 4 paths of pain during the fight, if not more. And in these scenarios Itachi wins, I see him leaving the battle exhausted and wounded. It's kind of unfair to bring up Edo Itachi against Pain, but in the case you're wondering about it, Edo Itachi would easily take this fight, seeing that his main issue to win this fight is the ability to maintain his chakra levels adequate to keep fighting, and when you take an undead body that completely ignores that fact, he easily wins. Now, I would like to discuss a third scenario. One where they both face each other in neutral grounds, like a random forest or whatever. In this scenario, Pain would be able to enter the fight at full power and Itachi would have no intel, just like in the scenario in the Rain Village. However, Pain can use his most destructive abilities now because he's not afraid of wrecking his village. And we're going to assume that he is already in range from Nagato's real body to use it. I think this really increases his chances of winning. One could argue that Itachi might be able to destroy Chibaku Tensei by himself with a barrage of Magatamas or just spamming Amaterasu. But regardless, it would make the fight much harder and I don't think he can do that. The battle would probably go similar to how it went in the Rain Village, but when Pain sees that he is really starting to be pressed by Itachi, he would use Chibaku Tensei to try to end the fight. Now, well, yeah, sure, we don't know for certain if Itachi can destroy it, but I think he can't. So, I really see Pain taking this fight against sick Itachi 8 or even 9 out of 10 times. And I also see him taking it against healthy Itachi 6 out of 10 times, assuming Itachi can destroy Chibaku Tensei, obviously. Now, if we assume the numbers change. For instance, if Pain can actually pull Itachi out of his Susanoo, then the battles would definitely go to his favor, especially the second and the third one. I'm just going to go with my first assumptions here, so that's how I'm guessing things, and I think my educated guesses are pretty good. All in all, this fight is much more complex than you would expect. It really depends in which situation they fight each other, how rested they are, and the amount of intel they have available. So, what do you think? How do you think this fight will play out? Please leave your comments down below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video, and stay tuned for more videos in the future. Thanks for watching, until the next one.